What do you think it did for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think first it was a break from myself. Like the constant pressure I put on myself to keep it together, to be a certain person. That perfectionism was a real big part of my anxiety and depression. And it made me feel less uncomfortable in my own skin. And it felt like this off switch. Like I remember that feeling like I could just flick a switch and just like not be this version of myself anymore. And like, what a relief.
Yeah.
Like to not have to be in my body and with my thoughts anymore. It's like something I always wanted.
Hi there. Welcome back or welcome to Recovering Out Loud podcast, the show where we get real about mental health and addiction. I'm so glad you're here. If you or someone you love is struggling with drugs or alcohol, please reach out for help. Send me a message on all social media platforms at Recovering Out Loud Pod or by email at recoveringoutloudpod@gmail.com. You are no longer alone.
What?
Like filming yourself, it's like very uncomfortable at first.
Well, I have a journalism background.
Oh,
so I have some
perfect.
training, but before I had that, I was incredibly nervous. And I still have moments where I'm like, I'm just going to write something today. I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be perceived online.
Yeah.
You know?
So do you script out your videos before you film them, or you just freebase it?
I just freebase it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just fucking go for it.
Welcome to Recovering Out Loud. We talk about crack. I love it. So you're becoming a psychotherapist, or you're already a psychotherapist?
I'm a psychotherapist.
You
already.
are?
Yeah.
So you're registered psychotherapist. Fucking cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I love having people on both sides. You're in recovery and
Yes.
you are helping other people
That's right.
through their recovery.
Yeah.
Let's do this. My wife yelled at me because she says I don't introduce people enough. She's like, I don't know who the fuck I'm listening to. You start talking about their story and their childhood, and they're like, I don't even know who it is. I'm like, well, if you read the description of the episode,
It's like you don't care about me. It's your fault.
Exactly. Why don't you introduce yourself, how you came into recovery, and let's start with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Eryl McCaffrey, and I've been sober for 3 years, just a little over 3 years. Tried many times. This time seems to be sticking one day at a time. I'm also a psychotherapist. I work with people in recovery primarily. It wasn't my intention, but those are the people that come to me, people that are looking to get sober and that have relationship challenges. So yeah, that's kind of my jam. Right now I'm working a lot with women that are craving sobriety. So that's like kind of the niche I'm finding myself in. But
Yeah. And how do they find you?
Instagram.
Yeah, it's a great gateway funnel. I'm trying to do that too. Working with addicts is so hard though. Like we never show up. You know what I mean? No, it's funny. Like every time I get like upset with somebody because whatever, they are so rearing to get sober and then they disappear for a bit, I have to remind myself. I'm like, dude, that was you. Like so many times, right? And I work at a rehab now where I get people into rehab, and it's frustrating sometimes because you know that they could be on the path to healing, the better life, and I'm dealing with this one guy, and I thought back to the last time I went into rehab. It took me probably 2 months before I like signed up, before I actually got into the bed, right? So it's like, stop it.
Yeah, it's so hard. That's something that I'm working with constantly with people is their resistance and resistance to even like getting on a call to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like it takes so much courage for somebody to go, okay, I have a problem. I want to do something about it. And I can be in frustration at moments for sure. Like, I know you could do it. I see this, better future for you. And just like you, I know exactly what it's like to want something better for yourself, but you're stuck somewhere and you're not done yet. You haven't felt enough pain yet. You're not desperate enough yet.
That's the big one.
So who am I to say that you're ready if you're not?
Yeah. I might be holding you back from another bottom, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. That's the big one, right? Being ready, willing and ready. And everybody's different, right? Like we have a lot more suffering to go almost all the time. if we're still alive, right?
Yeah.
You know, rock bottom is when you stop digging. So,
Mm.
but yeah, it's like, I like that. Who am I to say that you're done? You might not be done. You know, there's some more experiments to do, as I always say, some more research to do, right?
More controlled drinking to do.
Yeah. Try
Right.
some more controlled drinking.
Yeah.
How did you, can you walk us through your childhood and maybe how you found alcohol and what it did for you?
Yeah. So alcohol is a big part of my family story. Addiction it's really present in my family. Like alcoholics going back and, through the family lines for generations. And grew up with a dad who was in active addiction for basically my whole life. He got sober once or twice for brief periods of time. But he really struggled with alcoholism and mental illness. So I grew up watching that, and my mom was in and still is in Al-Anon, so she's got a really good program, and early on was able to explain to my sisters and I, like, this is a sick person, this is a disease, it's not you, it's not your fault. And that helped a lot. I'm incredibly grateful for that. And at the same time, it doesn't undo the trauma of watching somebody you love hurt themselves constantly and not be there for you, not show up for you in the way that you need them to. So that was my introduction to alcohol in childhood. And my dad passed away when I was 18. Was it 18? Yeah. So he had, I'm going serious, deep, dark right away. Yeah. But he got a cancer that was, the doctor said, caused by his drinking, and it was fatal. And he drank till the end. So that was like the type of alcoholic I saw growing up. And I was like, well, I'm just never going to be an alcoholic. I'm never going to have any issues with it. So my first addiction was like perfectionism, high achieving, like really focused on school. Then I got addicted to body image and food stuff. Big part of my story. Always trying to find a way to fix myself. I didn't come into my own drinking until after my dad died. So I wasn't a big drinker in high school. It was like, I think he started getting sick, and then I was experimenting with it a bit, and then as soon as he died, I just went for it. And I dropped out of university. I had the scholarship. I was like the golden child, trying to live up to that, and I just couldn't do it. So I took a year off school and worked at a bar, an Irish bar,
like
for
a good
year.
Alcoholic. Yeah.
I was like, let me just do some training.
Yeah.
I just want to get better at this thing. So a perfect place to, learn how to drink. And that was, I think that was really the beginning of it for me. And it just like, I don't even know where to stop talking about this, because it just went on forever. It just went on forever, and it got worse and worse. And it was tricky in university because it was normal, quote unquote normal, to binge drink. So it only really became clear to me that it was a problem when I got out of university. I graduated, and I was like, oh, not everybody's drinking like that anymore. But I don't want to stop.
Yeah. What do you think it did for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think first it was a break from myself. Like the constant pressure I put on myself to keep it together, to be a certain person. That perfectionism was a real big part of my anxiety and depression. And it made me feel less uncomfortable in my own skin. And it felt like this off switch. Like I remember that feeling, like I could just flick a switch and just like not be this version of myself anymore. And like, what a relief.
Yeah.
To not have to be in my body and with my thoughts anymore. It's like something I always wanted.
That's the big word too, is relief, right?
Yeah.
Like this volume knob on my head. And it works until it doesn't, right? It's like, I was reading in one of the Just for Today's the other day. It was beautiful. It said, alcohol and drugs, for me, mainly drugs, allowed me to be who I wanted, when I wanted, and feel what I wanted when I wanted, until it controlled me, right? Like you get to a point where it stops kind of achieving that goal. And then the more you do, the worse it gets to the thoughts get worse and louder. And then the volume goes to like 14, right?
Yeah.
And then you get that relief from maybe like, in my case, like a few minutes at a time. And then you just chase that. Right? Until the gates of hell.
It's insanity. Like I spent so much of my life trying to, like thinking I was going to feel a certain way when I would drink, and it would just like the feeling never came. It's just this really weird, insane behavior to be like, and this time it's going to work.
Yeah.
And it never works. It just ends up near the end, at least I could not escape my awareness of my problem or my thoughts, no matter how much I drank. I drank, right? So it's just like, it works for a little bit and then it becomes its own problem.
Yeah. I love the 3 phases. It's like fun with problems, and then just problems after, right?
Yeah.
As you're talking there, I'm thinking about the hand on the stove metaphor in one of the recovery literatures, where it's like, this time it's not going to burn me, right? Maybe if I come at it from this angle, right, it won't burn me the same. And it's like every time, just fuck, ow, ow, ow.
Yeah. Why can't I stop doing this?
Yeah. So that leads me into my next question. What was the moment where you were like, this time, I've had enough. I can't do this anymore.
I had a couple of moments. I had a couple of bottoms. I think one of the first ones was, I think it was 2017. It was like, it would have been before the pandemic. I had gone through like a breakup of 10 years. I had roommates that I didn't really know, but I was living on my own essentially for the first time. And I started adding other substances to the picture. And then I was not only drinking, but I was going out into after hours clubs and like,
Same.
leaving 7 a.m. or 9 a.m. the next day. And like, it got darker really fast. And I was doing more high risk stuff and really afraid of like what I was capable of doing. And like, just afraid. I was like, I'm going to die, I think, probably. And all the while trying to hold down my job as a yoga teacher. So think about that split personality, like mindfulness, wellness. Going there.
Yeah. Body's a temple.
Doing some lines in the bathroom. Namaste. Just like, it was just crazy. It got crazy. I had a seizure at one point, staying up really late. So it was just like, okay, I think I'm going to die. So I think I should do something. And at that point, I took myself to treatment, to rehab. I reached out to a women's rehab and started doing some outpatient work, went to rehab for a month, and it was amazing. The type A in me was like, perfect. Give me structure. I will be the best sober person you've ever met. I'll be the star.
Yeah, I'm going to get A+ in rehab. I'll be the star.
You want to vacuum the floor? I'll do it perfectly. And so I was like there, I really wanted to get sober for real. I wasn't ready. I kind of knew it too. I was like, this is a nice break for me. And came out. Within 3 months, I was back out. And then I didn't get sober again for 5 years, which is where I am now. This time around, it was very different. It was like I was no longer using other substances. It was just drinking. I was in a relationship that was with a person that was very wealthy and had access to a lot of things. And so now my drinking looked more refined and classy, fancy wines.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is acceptable now. And that actually over time felt more dangerous. I'm like, oh, I could do this forever. Like black out every once in a while, puke on someone's really expensive carpet, but like, whatever. They'll forgive me. Yeah. They probably do it too. And so that was it got worse in the pandemic for me. It was I just can't explain it other than like another moment of I'm going to die this way. I can't live like this. This thing owns me. So that time I had like a rip-roaring night. I was blackout drunk the next day. It was in August 3 years ago. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't explain it to you. It just was that, not like I want to say this, but I meant it. I was like, I literally am so exhausted of fighting this thing and pretending it's not a problem. after I know I've been to treatment for this thing. And I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I can drink normally now. It's like, what the fuck? So it was a really a spiritual moment. Like I remember that night crying in the shower, just being like, I literally can't do this anymore. And the relief of that. And then my world fell apart for a little bit. There was another breakup and I moved back home with mom. But there was this fire in me that was like, yes, this is supposed to happen. I need to rise from the ashes. And it was like, I needed to be so desperate and ready to start over.
Yeah. With that partner that you had, did he start to notice like things, and were you hiding it? Like what did that look like?
There was a lot of like drinking together. I always took it a step further, and it was kind of like I had really controlled the narrative. So I have been to treatment, but again, like, it's fine. You don't have to worry about me. And I did a pretty good job of like managing it for a while, but every now and then I would just get wasted, like blackout drunk. And he'd be upset with me and embarrassed of what I did or said in public. And there were some conversations about that, but I didn't get an ultimatum. Like there was no, you need to stop doing this or else. It really came from me. And then it was a conversation around, well, I don't want my lifestyle to change. And I was like, I get it, but I have to do this. So you can keep doing your thing and living the way that you're living, but I can't be around alcohol anymore in this way.
Yeah. Did you go back to treatment again, or you just?
I invested in AA, like found a home group, actually gave it a go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think about this question a lot because I post a lot of stuff about how to get sober. And sometimes I make it seem too, I mean, at least in my mind, too simple, but it really is simple, right? Like, because I always try to think about the people that don't do 12-step, right?
Right.
My experience with 12-step, it still is. I have to because I just like it. And I've tried a lot of other things and it just works for me. But there's a large group of people out there that are very 12-step defiant and, you know, maybe even toward the hate side of things, whether it be the God argument, which if you're arguing about the God thing, that just tells me you haven't done enough work in the program to realize that it's not about religion at all, right? And people usually hate things they don't understand, right? I've come to realize, but it's like, so you put that aside, how does one get sober, right? I've been thinking about it a lot. And I mean, if you were to ask me that right now, like my simple answer is I found someone that was sober a decent amount of time, that seemed happy every time I saw them, had that, you know, forget the things, right? A lot of them, the people, they do get the things, right? The car, the job, the relationship. Yeah. You put that aside and just take that all away. And it's just that, like, that smile on their face, that joy, that sparkle in the eye that I can see it in your eye now. Right. And every time I sit down with people, I always notice it. It's funny, like, because for a long time that sparkle was gone in my eye. And I remember seeing the alumni come into my treatment center this last time. It was the first thing I noticed every single time. It was just like, fuck, man, like, what, that guy has something. What is that? Right. This curiosity, like, and this time I knew what it was. Right. But yeah, for me, it's like I found someone that was more sober and I fucking asked them what they did. And then I did it, right? It's really 3 simple steps. Yeah. But if you don't go to 12-step, I don't know. Like, what do you get people that are against the 12-step, and what do you, like, some of your clients?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, like, the 12-step programs are wonderful. They're not for everybody for a variety of reasons. I've always been somebody that's like quite curious. And I'm going to take what lands and kind of like not pick apart anything else. But when it comes to working with people, there's a lot of resistance to 12-step programs because they think it's culty or super religious. And they've seen like movies or shows, you know, that have those scenes in it. And they think this is like totally not for me. So there's a lot of resistance to it. When people go and they come back, they always report like, yeah, it was a bit awkward and I don't really like that they use that God word, but I also felt really supported and less ashamed. I'm like, great. So do you want to feel more like that? Like maybe we should keep going, you know? Yeah. Either way, take away what the program or the resource is. I know for sure we all need community in recovery. We all need spaces where we can tell the truth. And we need some kind of connection to something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah. And that can be anything, right? It could be a group of people. It could be a great outdoors. Like I love hearing that said, group of drunks, great outdoors, good orderly direction, right? Just living according to spiritual principles.
Yeah.
Honesty, the biggest one by far. I can sit here and honestly tell you every single time I relapsed, number one was not being practiced. Some level of deception, lies to myself and to other people, right? I had this sort of secret that I shared about, and I wasn't telling people the full truth, right?
So it was such a slippery slope.
Yeah. It starts with one lie and then it caroms into something completely different, you know? I'm interested in the body image thing because I struggle with that too. How did you come to a place where that was more manageable, would you say?
I like that question. Not like, how did you heal from it?
Yeah,
it's like, it's ongoing.
Yeah.
I have such a different relationship to my body today. Like so much more compassion and gratitude. Like the older I get, I'm 36 now. I'll be 37 next birthday. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, this body's amazing. It's been through some shit.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm still alive.
And my liver's still there.
My liver's still there. My heart's still beating.
Yeah.
So I have such a positive relationship with it most of the time. I still struggle with body image and things like that. What did I do to make more peace with my body? A lot of therapy, a lot of trauma recovery work, really, because of, early childhood experiences that made me want to separate from my body. So exploring why that feels so good for me to dissociate. Why does it feel so good for me to be out of my body? How can I learn to come back into my body? That's been like an indirect way of healing that relationship, because it's not about like, how do I feel good in my clothes, or how do I change my shape, or what I'm eating. It's like, how do I feel at home in myself? So that other stuff doesn't really matter as much. So a lot of therapy, yoga is big for me, as a practice that like allows me to be really mindful and grateful. And I also like maybe want to have kids one day, and I do not want to pass this on. So I want to like change the way that I'm talking about these things, the narrative I have in my head and what I say out loud, because I know that can be internalized. If I'm talking this way about my body, that's what they hear and they think that's normal. You should hate your body too. So I know that's like kind of a all over the place answer, but sobriety has been huge for working through a lot of that stuff too, because I just, it doesn't matter to me as much as it did before. I'm so much more connected to my purpose, and to my higher power and to other people. Like, even if I have a bad body image day or some thoughts that aren't helpful, it doesn't hold as much weight as it used to. That makes sense?
Yeah, I can relate to that totally. The thoughts still come up, right?
Sure.
For me, it's like you ate too much last night, you're getting fat, you didn't go to the gym as much as you used to, right? And they don't take up that much mental bandwidth in my head, where it's like when they come up, they're more fleeting than they were before. But yeah, it took some work in recovery and being sober. And I think the biggest thing for me was just like you said, sharing about it, right?
Yeah.
Because it just seems so much more like it loses its power, but it sounds so stupid to say out loud. And that's a good thing for me, at least, where it's like, one, you're not fat, right? Two, like it doesn't matter, because you can't change it right now anyways, right? So I mean, this idea of like just being grateful and that I can even walk right? And that, yeah, to your point,
Yeah.
like I went to the hospital when I was in rehab because I thought I was having a heart attack. It was sitting down in one of the classes, and I felt this pressure on my chest for like an hour straight. And I went to the hospital, and I'll never forget this. In the ambulance, the thoughts were going through my mind. I pictured my future. My wife was helping me up the stairs, like all these things. I was like, I fucked up my heart now, like because of all the cocaine I've done.
Right.
And they did the ECG, they did everything, and it ended up being fine, right? It ended up all working out, and I just had some sort of panic attack or something. But like, I think that was a moment that I needed to have where it was like, yeah, dude, like this could be a lot worse, right? Your lungs are okay, the amount of cigarettes you smoked, you know, your heart is okay, and but that's not permanent, right? If you go back out there, yeah, to what you said, like I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
You know,
there's so much to gratitude, and it sounds flowery as like something you can practice if you want to heal some of these wounds. It's huge. And there's also something to checking in with yourself when we're having these thoughts and we're like sliding back into those old sort of patterns, to recognize that it's also an addictive thought loop. It's also an addiction, like body image, eating disorders, all of that stuff is compulsive. It's like a mental illness, you know? So not to put a heavy label on it, just to acknowledge, oh, I'm in my addiction. And when I'm in any kind of addictive behavior, I'm reaching out to soothe myself in some way. So like, what is happening inside of me right now that it feels better to obsess about food than to sit? Like, what am I actually experiencing? Oh, I'm really anxious about this thing coming up. I'm going to try to deal with that anxiety through restricting what I eat, working out a little bit more. You know, so it's like there's an emotional component to all of the addictive behaviors and thoughts that we have. And it's like, what's happening right now?
Yeah. And it's so much harder to just sit with it, right? I think there's a big difference too between sitting in it and sitting with it, where it's like acknowledging, like you said. I like the RAIN practice. I don't know if you ever, I'm going to screw it up, but recognize, acknowledge, allow, recognize, allow, how about you just investigate and nurture, right? So you're recognizing the thought, you're allowing it to come in and not, you know, push it out with food or whatever said addiction is. You're investigating, what's this about? Why am I doing this? And then you're nurturing. For me, nurturing, sometimes it's like actually, you know, just kind of feeling my body and hugging myself. And then other times it's one of my favorite things to do is just like, you're doing that thing again, buddy. Like just, you know, just laugh at it, right? Like, Anthony, you're doing that thing again. You're trying to escape pain. You know, this is what you do. Right. I'm interested in the dissociation thing. Is that what you mean by dissociation from your body? Like looking for outside things?
I mean, there's a disconnect that can happen when we're looking for outside things. I think dissociation, the way that I mean it, is like literally leaving my body. Like I first started doing that when I was a kid. You know, people say like I had an out of body experience. So I mean, not disconnecting from myself. I mean, literally not feeling like I'm in my body. I'm watching my body. I'm watching myself. And I had those experiences early on because I used to get panic attacks as a kid. So I'd be like, nothing's real. I'm not here. And I didn't understand at the time, but it was actually a coping mechanism. It's like I didn't feel comfortable and safe in the present moment. So it felt a lot better to just be, I'm out. Now I'm like living in fantasy land. I'm not in touch with what's happening in my body. And when we drink or when we get to a certain level of intoxication, we dissociate. I don't know what's happening in my feet, what's going on in my gut. I'm not connected to my heart. I'm completely flooded and checked out. So it's like a disconnection from the present moment, a disconnection from your body. And it can feel great when you don't want to be in reality.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I think maybe a lot of us do that and don't even realize we're doing it.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
As you're talking about it, I'm just picturing like floating up above my body, but it's not that dramatic.
Yeah. It might not feel like.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about spirituality. Can you describe maybe a little bit more what faith and spirituality means to you and why it's important to stay sober, why it's important for your recovery?
I think I'm not a religious person, so I don't go to church. I mean, 12-step is as close to church as I go.
Same.
But I've always had this like little feeling in my soul that there's something greater at work here. Like I'm supposed to do something with my life, and there's a reason that we all exist and that we're in each other's lives. Like a feeling of being part of something, which was a hard feeling to connect to when I was in my active addiction, because I felt very isolated, like very alone. I was separated from what I believe is like source. I was really in my own pain, separated from other people, in my shame, not part of any community. So I just believe that addiction it's an emotional problem. You know, there's emotional, mental, physical components to it, but primarily it's a spiritual problem. It's like, I don't have a purpose. I don't know why I'm here. I'm empty inside. Nothing I do or consume is enough to make me feel okay. And no thing can fill that void. No amount of food, booze, drugs, money, love, sex. It is never enough. The only way that I've ever been able to feel whole or fill that void is through a connection to a higher power. And that feels like, I have a friend up there that I just talk to every day. I'm like, what should I do today? Put me in the right place, make me useful. And so I feel led, and like life is magical because it all just feels like purposeful. And how do you move through something like addiction without something that powerful? I don't know.
Yeah, you can't, in my experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's comforting just listening to you talk about it, because everyone describes it a little bit differently,
Sure.
but it's like the same principle of like, I don't know the answer. I don't need to know the answer, but I trust that somebody, something has the best intention for me at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right. And it makes trauma, it makes resistance, it makes horrible situations seem like they need to be there almost.
Yeah.
And there's a purpose for it. I don't understand it yet, but that's because I'm in the middle of the story, right? Every story has a beginning, middle, and end, and I'm in the middle right now. And although it feels like everyone's against me and nothing's going my way, and my financial problems are still kicking from all the stupid hotels that I stayed at, right?
Damn it.
Yeah, there's a reason, because I need to learn this lesson, because down the road, I'm going to be better with my money, right?
100%. Like we are constantly humbled. And if we're walking a spiritual path, we can see that. And we don't have to be happy about that, but we can go, right, there's a reason that I'm learning this lesson again. Thank you. Yeah. If we don't have any spirituality, we can feel very victimized by the world and like nihilistic, almost like, what is the point? Everything's just suffering. And it's like, the longer, in my experience, the longer I live, the more I see the purpose of everything that I've experienced. Like, I should have died so many times. Yeah. I wanted to die. I was in situations where I could have died, and I didn't. And like, since I got sober, I've been able to help so many people. That's not a coincidence. Like, I was kept alive to do something. That's my thought around it.
Yeah, I know. I agree. We have a unique purpose, right? And somewhere in the literature, it says something about all those drunks will, all those, like, you know, those drinking experience and escapades and terrible times will serve purpose to help someone else one day, right? Nothing happens in God's world by mistake. Right?
That's my favorite line.
Yeah, it's true. There's a purpose for everything, right? Now, so what is your favorite modality of therapy against addiction? CBT, DBT, like, what do you think is the most effective for us addicts to practice, I guess?
Well, there's not one approach that I lean on. Well, I guess I will say across the board, something I do with every client that's experiencing addiction is called motivational interviewing.
Yeah.
Have you heard that term before?
Yeah.
MI. So for people that don't know, it's helping somebody connect to their internal desire to get sober or recover, because no one's ever going to move forward just because people are telling them, hey, you should really quit. Yeah. Or even giving you ultimatums. I really need you to quit. Otherwise I'm going to leave, blah, 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 blah. That's not what's been proven to help somebody create long lasting behavioral change. that only happens when the person inside themselves sees the costs of their behavior, sees the potential benefits of change, and they go for it. They're motivated. So motivational interviewing is like, yeah, tell me about what you've lost because of your addiction. What will you continue to lose? What would you have to gain if you got sober? You start to build awareness around it. You're not saying like, look at all this shit you're creating for yourself. You're allowing them to identify why this matters. So that's something I do with every person. But then when it comes to, other interventions, it really depends on where they're at in their recovery process. Like, can they be in their body at all? Or are they still using so much that they don't have the capacity to do something like mindfulness that might help them like learn some new coping skills? I always want to bring that in. It really depends on the person, but I don't rely on CBT, DBT, like as a across the board kind of intervention. It really depends on the person.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's like, I remember when I went to my first rehab, I've been to 3. I went to my first one and they had us do this activity where we had to write out the cost of our addiction, like the literal cost. And I'd never, you talked about dropping out of school. And I did that 3 or 4 times in addiction. I never connected the dots, even though I knew my life was a mess. I didn't, that's because you were smoking weed every night, right? And doing coke on the weekends. And it wasn't, I never understand when people finish school through their drinking careers. Like it blows my mind. It's like you hear someone get up and they're like, yeah, I got a PhD while I was drinking every night. It's like, what? Holy fuck. I wasn't able to show up at all. Yeah. Right. So that was a cool exercise to kind of go through, because it's like, you don't just, you think about when I ask someone, what's the cost of your addiction? It's like, well, bars. So I spend some money at the bars and this and that. But what about the lawyer fees and the crashed cars and the car repairs, the insurance premiums going up, right?
And also like the cost of, there's all of that. That's kind of almost easier to quantify because you can put a number on it, you can tally it up. But like the cost of watching your future slip away from you, something that I was cognizant of a lot near the end was like, I'm just like not going to be the person I want to be.
Ever. Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like, how awful is it to know every day that I'm standing in my own way? Like I'm actively preventing that from happening. Like there's so much shame there. There's so much shame and frustration. It's like, that's a huge cost. I can't be happy if I do this. I literally just won't have a good life. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. That should be enough, right? But it's not.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's not, because it's easier sometimes to softer way is to just do this line and move on with my day. Right?
Yeah, I'll start tomorrow. I'll quit tomorrow.
Yeah. Monday's day one.
Yeah.
Potential is the word I'm thinking of when you're talking about happiness, right?
Yes.
It's like this functional alcoholic drives me crazy, that term. What could you be doing? Could you be the Prime Minister of Canada? You don't know, because you know what I mean? It's
Could you discover like a cure for cancer? Probably.
You don't know, right? Because what is, I'm showing up to work every day. Okay, but are you there? What's happening when you go into work, right? Because I remember when I was going into work, even if I wasn't actively high or drunk at work, which a lot of the time I was, the latter, people, you're hungover and you're not living up to your potential, right? And people notice that stuff. I'm starting to realize.
Oh yeah.
We think we're hiding it from everybody.
Oh yeah.
What are your daily essentials for recovery?
Prayer and meditation. Every morning. It's very rare that I miss that. And it's not like I have to do this or I'll relapse, but it brings me so much peace. I'll meditate for like 5 minutes. I do some prayer, suggested by the big book. I'll do some prayer around that. Essentially, I'm meditating, I'm clearing my mind, and then I'm praying to my higher power and saying, just make me useful. Like remove all the things inside of me that prevent me from being useful to other people. Like my fear and my resentments and my impatience. Like, can you just remove those things so I can be useful to you? And then I ask for knowledge. What's your will for me today? And I try to listen. And sometimes I'll hear things like, slow down. Like I'll actually hear words. Or I'll get an image of something, of me like standing in the grass. It's like, okay, this is how I can be more useful today. I can be present, So I have a conversation with my higher power in the morning, and then, you know, it's like going to meetings. I don't go to a meeting every day, but I go every week. I do my own therapy. I have to do something physical every day. I get to do something physical every day. Like, these are just things I've learned about myself, is like, I'm not well if I don't move my body. It's not like intense workout, but if I don't go for a walk, or I don't lift some weights or do some yoga, I'm more likely to fall into depression, anxiety, things like that. So exercise, all the things, like, unfortunately, that people tell you to do, they actually work.
Yeah.
Like, things we don't want to do, like meditate, pray, feel grateful, exercise. There's probably other things I'm not thinking of, but those are some big.
There's a reason, though, that everyone constantly says it, right? Because it works. The conversation in the morning is interesting. That you know, as of late, as you're talking there, I'm thinking about. I've had this attachment to outcomes lately. That's been my real issue lately.
Yeah.
Whether it's podcast followers, Instagram followers, this expected result, expectation, right, always leads to resentment. And you know, I was sitting in my shit like for multiple days at a time. And so I would wake up in the morning, and I still do this, where I pray too, but I also journal out like 3 or 4 pages of just free writing.
Good.
And every single morning, I just, for like 2 weeks straight, I would just say, like, help me remove this expectation, these expectations. And I'm telling you, like, it actually worked. I look at social media less now. I'm not perfect, right? But I look at it less, and I stop expecting things. Like, whatever I do, I'm not in control of the outcome, right? It's, you know, it's very clear to do. I always preach this, but preach is the wrong word. I always say this: do the next right thing and leave the outcomes up to the universe. It's not up to me. Right?
Oh my God, that's something I'm working through too. I spin out so quickly when I start doing something, and I expect immediate results and I expect a specific kind of result. And then it's about me, and it's actually not about the thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's no longer about being useful and being helpful and all of that. It's like me. Yeah. I need to be validated, you know, and affirmed, and all of these things. And that's such a good practice I forget to ask for those things sometimes, like, as they pop up during the day, to be removed. Like, I'm obsessing about this thing. Could you just take it away from me?
I heard a speaker tape one time. He said, you know, he thinks about those things like going into a movie and, you know, not actually going into a movie, but you have this sort of thing that you won't let go of, you're holding on to. And it's like, I'm going to go into this movie for 2 hours. Hold on to this. I'm looking up as I say this. Hold on to this while I go watch this movie. And it's like, you can do that with anything you need to let go of, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Hold on to this. I'll check with you when I'm back, right? It's not up to me.
Yeah. That's a very difficult thing, I think, for most people, but for addicts especially, that want to, like, use is about having control. I want to feel a different way. I want the world to meet my expectations. I don't want to, you know, meet life on life's terms. So it's a constant journey to surrender, to, like, I'm just going to show up and see what happens.
Yeah. It's a lot harder to do that, right?
Oh, yeah.
I like asking this question, but I get a similar answer every time, but it's always something a little bit different. But if you could go back and change your path to pick the sort of normal drinker route, non-addict route, would you do it?
No.
That's it. No.
Would I?
Stupid question.
Would I? Yeah. God, that's so dumb. Yeah. Would I redo it? No. But would I change it? No. No. Like, I love my life today. And, like, I would not be such a cool person had I not gone through all of that shit. Like, so grateful for it.
Yeah.
Truth.
Yeah. There's something that happens when you hit a sort of rock bottom where you're like, if I could get through, I always used to tell my wife this too, is because she watched me at the peak of my recovery at the 8 years, and this, like, amazingly humble spiritual person just fall, like, way from the mountaintop. And then she met, you know, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. She met Mr. Hyde, right? Yeah. And, like, when I say like, she saw addiction 360, the full front row seat, right? And she stuck with me through it the whole time. I don't know how, but I think she'll say this, is that she hung on to that, like, that hope of like,
Yeah.
this is what he could be like, right? This is him, really. This is,
Yeah.
you know, I met the real Anthony. So, but yeah, it's like, it's tough to sort of watch someone go through that. And I mean, you have good experience with that too, right? Where it's like, I don't know if they're ever going to come out of this. And sometimes I think, you know, marrying an addict must be a fucking difficult thing to do. You know, it's like, especially when you know what could happen. It's beautiful when you hear the people that are like, my kids have never seen me drink, and it's great. But it's like, if they've seen both sides, that guy is like not that far away, right? I mean, today he's far away, but you know, and all it takes is one drink.
Yeah.
So
it's like you're either working on relapse or you're working on recovery, which sounds a bit severe, but it's actually true.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm not actively every day doing at least one thing to support my recovery, I am way closer than I think to picking back up. And that's why I'm grateful when I have one of those drinking dreams, which comes every once in, like, it's like clockwork every 3 months for the last 3 years. There's periods of time where I have them more, but I wake up and I'm like, right. I never want to drink again. Yeah. Thank God that didn't happen. You know, that reminds me how easy it is to go back into it. Yeah. And so, yeah, if you're linking up with somebody that's in recovery, just make sure they got a program of some kind, okay?
Yeah. Strap in.
Yeah. Oh, make sure you have an escape route.
Yeah.
A prenup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Speaking of prenups, actually, I don't know if you saw that Nicole Kidman prenup.
No.
Yeah, no one knows about this. My wife told me about it, probably from TikTok. Nicole Kidman designed her prenup with Keith Urban, I think, who's in recovery. Yeah. In the fine print or whatever, in the actual document, it says for every year that he stayed sober, he gets $1 million in the prenup. So he's gotten like $17 million or $11 million.
That's great.
I know. I was like, I gotta make a video about this. That's a great idea for anybody that wants to sign up.
Anyone that's got millions of dollars, that's the way you motivate them. You know,
right? Imagine getting paid to be sober. Yeah. What a life.
Even then, that would not be enough unless you really wanted it.
It's so true.
But it would help.
Yeah. But I mean, it would be, I always said this, the most dangerous thing is an addict alcoholic with an unlimited bank account, right? Because, I mean, you kind of had that, right? For a bit, where it's like, everything on the outside is good. Why would I get sober? It has to come from within. You have to have that pitiful, incomprehensible demoralization.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, I mean, a big part of my story is like, I mean, this is probably not totally true, but the way that I saw it was no one knew that I had a problem. Like, I wasn't like my dad. I wasn't, you know, drunk driving or getting arrested. Like, I wasn't, you know, or getting in trouble with the law. I'm like, did he get arrested? I don't know. Anyways, I wasn't that kind of alcoholic for most of my career, at least my drinking career. It was like I was pretty quote unquote functional and teaching yoga. And before that, I was in the news business. Like, I always appeared to have it together. I worked really hard at trying to appear that way. So I just want to acknowledge that, because it doesn't look like, you know, losing everything for some people. Like, some might say I had a higher bottom. Eventually, it's progressive, right? So eventually all of those things would have happened to me. I would have gotten in a car accident, maybe hurt somebody and all of those things. But there's a lot of danger in seeming to the outside world that you have it all together, and you're just like drowning in this thing quietly. Yeah.
It's like the duck. Everything's good above the surface, and then your legs are paddling like crazy. Yeah, justification is a bitch, man. Like, it's, as you're talking there, I'm not like my dad, right? That's like a huge driving force. I can totally get with that. You know what I mean? It's like, at least I'm not that bad.
Yeah.
Right? For me, for a long time, it was, what was it? Oh, it was, you know, because I relapsed on ADHD medication. It was like, but I need this to function. Meanwhile, the 7 years I've thrived in business. Like, I got promoted at work without any medication. Now, all of a sudden, I need this thing to focus on reports. That's what I told my therapist. I was like, I need it to focus on reports. She just laughed. She's like, seriously? Like that? You're going to the club with it and then staying up to do work all night and then watching movies or whatever, and you need it to read reports. Are you sure?
Sounds like an addiction. Yeah. It sounds a lot like like addict behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, those justifications, they can be so dangerous, and they can keep us sick for so long, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You talked a little bit about it, but is there anything else that you're working on personally right now?
For my recovery?
Yeah. Or even just your life, really.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest growing chapter, I was gonna say growing pain, but there's been some growing pains in the last couple of months, has been like, okay, I'm blessed to have a private practice, and I'm seeing a lot of people that way, and like I want to help more women that are in recovery. How do I do that, or that want to get into recovery? So I've been branching out a lot more and focusing on like doing free events for women that are sober curious. I've like launched this program that I'm doing this fall for women that are curious about getting sober or giving up alcohol. And that's all been very, very aligned and like rewarding, because it's like, if I could go back in time and help myself, I would do these things. You know, like I'm like, here's some mindfulness tools you can do. Here's some community support. Here's some like, it's structure. It's not a replacement for a 12-step program. It's part of the whole thing, the whole toolkit, right? So a lot has come up for me in the creation of these things. Like it's been so challenging to show up more in this way, like talk more about this stuff, not because I'm ashamed or like I don't want to talk about my own experience. It's just like a really vulnerable space to be in, and you're, you know, even from like a business standpoint, putting stuff out there and being like, will anyone come? Like, is this going to work? Am I going to be embarrassed? So there's been a lot of like perfectionism that's reared its head, and a lot of fear and imposter syndrome. Like I've experienced another set of growing pains that I didn't expect. Like, oh, but I'm a professional. I have a private practice. Like, I have a master's degree. Like, yeah, but you're still an addict in recovery who, struggles with thought patterns too, So yeah, it's been really interesting, and I'm really practicing more and more exactly what you were talking about earlier, which is like, I'm just going to trust that it's all going to play out as it's supposed to. And I really have to step away from attaching to a specific outcome. It has to look like this, and it has to have this many people, and it has to have all of that stuff is very destabilizing for me. So I'm struggling with Instagram a little. Like that's a tough game to be part of.
It's annoying. Yeah, it's really annoying. There's so many formulas and algorithms, and sometimes that's why I always comparison is the thief of joy. Right? It's like you see somebody that's doing so well on Instagram. It's like this sucks. Like there's there's no value here. Like what am I? It's not even entertaining.
Right.
Like, dude, shut up.
but yeah, and also I'm like, I don't know. We don't know how long that person has been given her.
That's
it's like
exactly what I was thinking.
They might have been trying this thing for 7 years. Whenever we're comparing ourselves to somebody, it's like we don't know if they're at the end of that particular journey, the middle. We don't know what they've had to sacrifice. So let's just stop doing that to ourselves.
It's so true. You compare your beginning to someone else's end, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
you're like, wow, I can't do this. I guess it's impossible.
Because they did it overnight.
Yeah.
Right?
Overnight success. That's how you do it, right? Otherwise, you're a failure.
Oh, I love it. Let's end with this. Thanks for being so vulnerable. I really got a lot out of today. I appreciate it. But let's end with this. If you could go back and say something to your younger, not even younger, your addicted self today, what would you say?
Oh, there's so much. What did I say? This is when I'm going to just take a moment and connect to my higher power. I just it's just one foot in front of the other. That's what that kind of drops in right now. Is it feels impossible because we're at the bottom of the mountain. We look up and we go, oh my God, I have so far to go. My life is such a mess and I have to rebuild everything. And that's actually what prevents us from doing anything. So if someone had just come in and said, look, I know this feels impossible, and like you're never going to be able to drink again, that's like not something you can commit to. It's like just it's one day at a time, right? One foot in front of the other. Start by telling somebody that this is a problem for you. Start by putting that drink down. Like it's literally the 12-step motto, right? But it's that all adds up over time. And then all of a sudden you're at the top of the mountain. You're like, oh my God, I've come so far.
Yeah.
Small steps.
Yeah, but you have to take those steps. Well said. Well said. Thanks so much, Eryl, for coming down. I appreciate you. And yeah, look forward to hopefully doing this again.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for listening. Please help us grow the channel and like, share, and subscribe for more content. The discussions and stories shared on this podcast are for informational and motivational purposes only. This content is not a substitute for professional medical advice, addiction treatment, or therapy. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, please consult a licensed physician, addiction specialist, or mental health professional. You are no longer alone.